not really familiar with his resume and his body of work, but the few other things that I've seen, this seems like he really stepped it up a little bit. And he was challenged as an actor, it looks like to me, and I thought his delivery was amazing. From a writing perspective, I think it was a bit far fetched and made no sense. There were gaps that I felt like there were unanswered questions. And again, like I said, to a friend of mine a few days ago, I said, I remember just watching this and I picked up on several different lines from other Tyler Perry movies. So there's a lot of repetition in what he does, and whether it's intentional or not, we don't know. But I do think that there is a lack of creativity, but we have to also remember that when someone becomes a brand, when you become a brand and not just a producer, a writer, a director, he's also a brand. There is a high demand to get out whatever, how many movies he's committed to in the course of over 5 years. If he's committed to 20 projects, he's got to get them out. It's almost like, when you have a record deal, and I'm very familiar with that word, when you have a record deal and that deal says you have to have 5 albums in 5 years, they really almost get to a point where the production is so poor, nobody cares as long as the music gets out, because you have to honor the commitment. So we also have to take that into consideration. But is there plagiarism? I don't know if there's plagiarism, if they're just, cutting and piecing, stuff together. I read some of Athena's script. I read some of Tiara's script. I'm going to throw this together with some few lines of some other films that I've done so people know it's my trademark, and boom, now we got Divorce in the Black.
Listen, I watched that movie too, and at first, I know the scene you're talking about in the beginning. I was like, this is a Rachetta scene if I've ever seen one. It was very Ghetto-Rachi that first 10 minutes.
It kind of gave you kind of like Rasputia from Norbit meets.
Yep. And with every Tyler Perry movie, why is there always a church scene somewhere? Is that like a template?
I think one of the things that he fell stereotyped into is that Black folks and the church. And I just think it becomes very stereotypical from that perspective. I don't know if because I do know with Medea, that was his claim to fame, with being in the Black church, because everyone from the churches were going to see his stage plays, and if it's a church event, a church place to go, and fundraisers. So I think he's kind of stuck in that area where that's his niche. I know he has stepped out of his genre of the Medea kind of format, but it hasn't been as successful as the format as he's done with the angry Black woman or the mistreated Black woman. So we'll see what's coming up next. I'm sure there'll be some revisions to his approach to things, especially with all the feedback he's been getting from this current project.
Yeah. Now, Tiara, I want to kick it to you because I want to see what your feelings are, because on one hand, Corey Hardrick and Megan Good was saying that this movie was the highest they ever got paid, and they only had to shoot it in 3 weeks. And that's the span of their Hollywood career. Like, Tyler actually paid them what they were worth, right? Especially in the industry where Taraji and Monique, other people have come on and said the Black actresses and actors, Viola Davis, have not been getting paid. So on one hand, he's paying the actors and the actresses, but on the other hand, the writers, the production, there's been complaints about that. How do you feel about that as someone who is in Hollywood and in that industry?
That is such a great assessment, right? So there's something about, paying actors, and again, like making sure that you are seen as the genius behind everything else, right? I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Like Erica was saying earlier, when you have a quota that you have to make to the studio or to a record label, uh, that means you have to put on the work. The thing is, you could put on the work, and they hire songwriters, they hire writers, and they get writers rooms, and like, even if you get a mini room, which is like not as big as a writing room, right? Like, get something. I think I seen something, he had went away and was like somewhere in Australia or something, and he took a picture of like, nature, and just finished writing 70 episodes in 2 days. And I was like, it's trash. Because there's no way you can do that and really like find the nuances of the characters, and like character building is a thing, right? Like unless you like it's a process. It's a, you know, you creating conflict between characters and finding motivations and pain points and things that'll really resonate with people. It's really an art. And sometimes I feel like it goes over that part of it goes over his head it goes over his head a bit, you know, like he doesn't care about that. That's not important to him. And sometimes for some filmmakers, they do. They value one thing over another. Something has to suffer. You know, if you're making things in 3 weeks, right? You're making it in 3 weeks. That means like, listen, I'm gonna throw this script together. This always gets the job done. I'm gonna bring in some really good actors, and I'm gonna like coach them. I'm gonna direct them to overact a little bit, and like it's gonna feel like a play, but it's gonna be on screen. And you know, he just, you know, I mean, he has a formula and it works for him. Obviously, he's a billionaire and I am not, so I won't criticize the way he's gone about his business. I just think I'm over it.